everyone. Welcome to Life in Full Send, Athletes Reimagined, the podcast where we discuss the experience of redefining life after being an athlete. I am your host, Liz Hall, an athlete integration specialist, and your teammate for navigating that big question, what comes after sports? Each week, I sit down with former athletes who have faced that very question and share how they navigated their transition. Today's guest is a star from my hometown of Volleyball, Michigan. We come from a pretty small lake town, but it's the home of a few NFL giants, including Ian Gold and brothers Chris and Colin Jenkins. Volleyball recently won back-to-back state football championships and is home to the starting quarterback for the University of Michigan, Bryce Underwood. My guest today is a conference champion, an honors student, and a mentor to kids. Luke Edwards IV is a former collegiate football player and one of my very favorite humans. Let's get into it. What did you unlearn about success, toughness, or self-worth after football?
That it's okay not being okay. And football is, hey, if you're not bleeding, if it's not broke, get up and go, right? For me, just with my therapy sessions and everything, it's okay not being okay, right? You have to acknowledge that, and you still get up and go, but you acknowledge it. You give it some life, and you correct those things, and you fix it. It's not a loss, it's a lesson. And at that point, what did you get out of the lesson? How can we correct it? Because it's going to happen again. Oddly enough, football is like, okay, you're in practice. You mess up, we can go again. But then once the game happens, if you mess up, I play defense, that might be a touchdown. So in a way, that's more or less like life, because, if you mess up, and you might lose your job. So I had to just unlearn the aspect of absolutes, that something isn't absolute. You have to work at it. You have to be okay with, because it's painful. Growth is very painful. I joke with my parents and I'm like, hey, I cried in my therapy. I'm a big guy. I got teary eyed, and that's okay. Let's fix it. Let's get to the nitty gritty and fix it, instead of, wipe my tears and keep going in life. And I might be hurting someone else. Let's correct me so I can help everyone else.
What's that saying? If you don't heal the wound, you'll bleed on somebody who didn't cut you. If we don't handle it, like we talked about, it doesn't go away. It's going to come back, and it's going to come back at an inconvenient time.
Yeah.
And a person you wish you wouldn't have released it on, in a manner of which you wish you had not done it through.
For sure.
This is going to be the question. Okay, I have all these feelings now. How do I work with them? That's a big thing. That's the community I'm building. You don't have to do it alone. What we do have to do, this is a non-negotiable, is if we need something, we've identified we'd need something in way of help and support, we must take the action step to find out how to feel better. If a listener is feeling lost, stuck, or like they don't know who they are without sports, what would you say to them right now?
Yeah, I had a good friend who was recently going through something like that. And we talked about goal setting. What do I want to accomplish? Words have power. I don't speak ill will over anything or myself. If I say, hey, I want to be a millionaire, I say, hey, Luke, you're a millionaire, right? It's coming. Write out your goals, read them every morning. I recently went through something similar to that, and I had to rewire myself. And so the first thing I did was I started brushing my teeth with my left hand, right? To get that other side of the brain going. I looked in the mirror and said, I love you. I love you, Luke. I said it 30 times before I went off with my day, just to, get me rewired a little bit. And it helps. It's okay to give yourself those self affirmations, right? That, our significant others love to say, hey, tell me I'm pretty. It's okay to tell yourself that as well, because that is self healing. The spiritual side of me will say, hey, talk to God, right? Then the human side of me, knowing that everyone doesn't have the same beliefs, would just say, keep showing up for yourself. There's power in showing up every single day. I had this saying in my previous career, it's just a cloud. This is a cloud. Clouds pass, right? The sun will eventually come up.
When you saw other athletes that were coming out of it struggle, the kind of what to do next, was there sadness? Could you kind of spot, man, they're going through it? I can tell, I can feel that.
Absolutely, yeah. You can definitely feel it. Some people, like, I finished school in December, so I was done. But other people, they stopped going to class. They stopped coming out. You see their weight fluctuate. They either lose a lot of weight or they gain a lot of weight. You could definitely tell. I'm not gonna say my teammate's name, but he was someone that was very committed to trying to get to the next level, and that just wasn't going well. And I'm like, hey, like, it's okay. You can keep working at it, but hey, these are opportunities that we've been presented with, via networking with some of our teammates or just other companies that's coming through. And it was just a struggle. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to step on your toes with faith or anything, but let me tell you what I did, right? I start talking to God. Some people think you have to talk to God in a certain way. And it's like, no, I talk to him just like I'm talking here. Once you really truly start committing to what the word says, and to him, and just showing that love and grace, doors start to creep open. You start to forget about the depression. And so luckily I've seen people get through it and now they're successful. And we all have been out of school for 6, 7, 8 years, some of my closer friends, and now seeing them successful, starting families, and kind of past that chapter of depression and struggling with not being an athlete anymore. And then on the other side, I've seen some people that just never got out of it. And unfortunately, some of them aren't here with us anymore, and some of them are still struggling. I always say, there's not an ending to healing. Ending is always continuously. Life challenges us every day, and we either run through it and make it through it, or we sit there and become stagnant. And it's truly up to us how we handle it. I try to stay positive and look at the positive in everything. And
People are so much more powerful, I think, than they give themselves credit for, or maybe even aware of. That,
yeah,
the power comes between the ears,
amen.
that
Yes, ma'am.
6 inches between the ears, and how we control it. There's a teacher, I think it was Eckhart Tolle, that said, heaven and earth reside right here. And it's
Yes.
all found in your thoughts. Because
Truly.
you can have two people in the same exact situation with completely different responses. Back to psychology,
Yeah.
same stimulus, completely different response. So how does that happen? For anybody that might be thinking, he thinks positive, but I don't know how to, great, reach out, join our community, because we're going to give
Yeah,
you tools for that. That's
absolutely.
what this is about, is equipping you for how do you take the next step? Maybe you're not going to get into full-blown gratitude, but how do you feel a little bit better than what you feel now?
Yeah.
And so much is in words, so much is what we say about ourselves, what we think about ourselves. That is the journey, is self-acceptance of wherever we're at. Luke, thank you so much for taking the time and giving your heart to the pod. I'm so grateful to have you be part of this. If this episode inspired you, please share it with a fellow athlete or friend navigating their next chapter, because we're all just writing our playbooks as we go. Make sure to follow and subscribe to Life in Full Send, Athletes Reimagined on YouTube. And if you loved the episode, please drop a quick comment so we can reach even more incredible athletes who may need to feel seen and heard. Until next time, please remember, the game ends, a chapter ends, but your story doesn't. Keep living life in full send.